I guess, okay, worst case scenario.
It's 12 noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West.
And this is Reprint.
This isn't breaking headlines. This is a second look with context added for perspective.
This is Reprint, edited after the headlines. Yeah, it's working. We are back. Woo! Shout out from the East Coast and the West Coast. Crystal's in the building.
Out
The
to
roof is on fire.
roof is on fire. The East Coast, it is not morning. It is nearly afternoon. It is
Yes.
mid-afternoon on the East Coast.
Yes.
But it's okay because we are here and I am back from vacation. And we're here. It is almost 2 o'clock on the East Coast.
Almost 11 o'clock on the West Coast.
Okay. Hey, but we're here. We are here. And
Yes.
it's good to see you. It's good to see you.
You as well. Yeah, it's been a rough start today, like literally a rough morning start. And honestly, the world is burning literally around the country. Shit
Literally.
is crazy. Excuse my language, but we are here
We're
and
here.
we want to welcome you all to the reprint. It's this is live and direct. This is not pretty. Like, listen,
It's just not. It
you
is
woke up this.
rough. It is rough.
Yeah,
It is authentic.
but
And
we're
I
not
just
giving
want to
up.
say, we're not going to give up. I'm going to say we had a lot of technical difficulties. And
Oh my goodness.
on my channel, people have been remarking about me looking like I am under the influence. That is not true. I do not
No.
use substances or
Nope.
anything. But what is happening is I do have dry eyes. And so I can't use a
Okay.
lot of the mascara and makeup that I have been using. My doctor prescribed me a eye drops to use. So I am even less, there's no eye makeup, and I'm not going to feel self-conscious about that, but I am not, my eyes are not red from drug use. And I did have a great
No,
vacation.
you're good. You're good.
I had a great vacation. We
Yes.
went on MSC World America with my daughter is the DJ, and that was just an amazing experience. It was an amazing experience to see your child be able to do what they love to do is priceless. And I would just thank you. I just want to suggest to all parents out there, you guys know raising kids is not easy. It is also the most rewarding job I think God gifts us with. And I remember my daughter loving music, and everyone loves music, but my daughter was in the band. And I remember
Mm.
telling her that she could not do band and cheer both because I was a single parent, and the cost was just. I don't even think it's about me being a single parent. It could have just been life. Life is expensive, and both of those things together were very expensive. And I said, Chanel, you've got to pick between cheer and band. And I remember she said, well, I think I
Hmm.
want to do band. And I was wrong
Okay.
because I said, well, I was a cheerleader, and I don't know why you'd want to be in the band and have to wear a funny hat. And I put pressure on her because
Mm.
she was really good at cheer as well. She was doing competitive cheer. I kind of pressured her to stay in competitive cheer, but she always loved band. So then she got to college, and I encouraged her to do a major that would allow her to make money regardless of anything. Because as most parents, we're afraid of our
Mm.
children not being able to be successful as opposed to following their passion. I learned a huge lesson. My daughter went to 3 years as a chemical engineering major, came home one day and said, Mom, I have to tell you the truth. I cannot do this. This is not my dream. This is your dream. I really want to do music, and I have to do it. And at that point I broke down. I was like, you know what? I am so sorry. And I should not have been enforcing my things out of fear on you. And so I said, she started over again from day one after being a junior, going into her senior
Wow.
year. She started over again because none of her credits would transfer. She went to Art Institute of Atlanta. She studied audio engineering for, so she could be a DJ and an engineer. And she wanted to be a producer as well. And I told her I would support her 100%. And so she moved back in. She started at zero in this whole new situation. She went to intern for free at a bunch of different studios. Shouts out to Tree Sound Studios under Molly Hunter and
Shout out
quite a
Free
few
Sound.
other studios, Tricky Biz Studios. I mean, she just was interning everywhere. And anyway, long
Yeah.
story short, today, this weekend, my husband and I had a chance to see her DJing crowds of thousands on this Italian cruise ship. And it was a testament to me to share with other parents. Don't make the mistakes that I did and try to make them do what's safe. Let them do what their heart
Yeah.
desires, and it will pay off. So I just want to again, congratulate my daughter. And I'm just really proud of her. But I would just say to other parents, back up, trust God, and let them be. Yeah.
I got a similar story. Similar story. My son who also is in music as well. He went the same route as Chanel. He went to school first. He tried it out. It wasn't him. I'm not a books person. I'm not a school person, and I'm pursuing music. He came out to California. I brought him out here to California. He got into a school, 1500 Sound Academy, and the school that he went to was really, really good because the people who started the school, James Fauntleroy, is the same people who were behind Beyonce and Bruno Mars and whatever. So he had hands-on training from those guys, and also people will come into the school and do like seminar classes or whatever. So he had real-time industry folks coming in. On the flip side, just like your son, Stone, my daughter is in college and she's doing, the whole university college thing. So we got, both of us have kids on both sides. So it's kind of cool, like one's academic, one's academia, and one's more music and creative. And that's kind of how it is, and we got to support our children and meet them where they are, guide them through life. And that's what we got to do. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
I
proud of
think
my son and my daughter.
Yeah, guiding them, but not trying to manipulate or control
Yeah.
them is kind of difficult. And like you said, I mean, my son is the exact opposite of my daughter. My son has 2 bachelor's, 2 master's degrees, and is now moving on. I know we have a big announcement about that coming later, but they're totally different, But God entrusted me with both of them. And I think what he wants me to do, and probably always wanted me to do, was to get out of the way and trust him.
As a parent, yeah.
Trust him with them because he entrusted me with them. And so we
Yeah.
realize that God gives them to us, but they really belong to him. So not to be too preachy this morning, but I enjoyed my vacation.
Glad to have you back.
I will say, yes, it's good to be back, but I will say this, and I know we have our inspirational vitamin coming later is about relationships. And I would just say that my husband and I, we've been married for 5 years, and we've never taken this long, just the 2 of us. And it
Wow.
was a
That's nice.
beautiful experience. We had a chance
Isn't
to
it
really-
nice
It was. It really was.
to block out the whole world and just be you and him, just you
It
and
was.
him, nobody talking to you, no interruptions, no day-to-day bills, no struggles, just
Yes.
you and him. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Husband and
laughed.
wife, man and woman. Yeah.
Yeah, we laughed. We rediscovered. It felt like when we first started dating, and it has not felt like that because even though
Yeah.
our children are both grown, the worries of the stresses and the issues
Yeah.
with family and da 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 and all that and bills and all it
Oh, yeah.
intersects. And so we actually felt like that couple that met, and when we were first dating, we just laughed and I think we reestablished our best friend dynamic. So
I love that.
I'm very, very happy, and I'm and totally in love with him. And I was in love, but I mean, it just was a good reminder. And then I think it was
Yeah.
good to give my mom a break. My mom took care of my dog. Shouts out to my mom. She did a good job taking care of our dogs, but she just that relationship has gotten better. So I just, I'm in a great place. We had some technical difficulties, and technical difficulties are things that are small things in this world. The most important things are relationships and just our relationship with God and our relationship with self and with each other. So we have all that under control. We can figure out the technical difficulties of it all.
Yes. Yes. I'm glad you guys are here today with us, man. We had a rough start this morning. We almost didn't make it, but we're here. We are here now.
We're here.
Yes.
We're almost. And I know most people, probably won't catch this because this is not our usual time. But it was really important to both of us to try to just to make sure we are here. And so
Yeah.
the reprint. We're excited about a lot of the things that we have coming up. One of the things I'm most excited about is the additions that we have. We have a sports commentator that's going to be joining us every Friday.
Yeah.
We also have a political commentator that's going to be joining us. I'm not sure which day of the week that's going to be, but we'll have pieces from our politics and community editor as well. So there'll be more. You'll be meeting more of the Lennox and Parker staff than just Victor and I. And then we have some good excerpts that are coming up. So I'm excited.
Yeah, a lot of work to do, but we are pushing through it. Despite the times we live in, despite the issues around going on right now in the world, it's a lot on people's plates. So
It
please
is.
bear with us as we get through this. Yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
We're trying to do the best we can to give you guys the best in our community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I guess we'll just jump into the news now. As I was
Yeah.
on a ship, I did receive word that we were at war, and so to speak.
Yeah.
The United States, along with Israel, did bomb or attack Iran, and so
Mhm.
our first topic for the day is the oil prices and, of course, the war. And so the war involving Iran, the United States, and Israel continues to escalate as the conflict enters its second week, following the death of longtime Iranian leader Ali Khamenei during early strikes in the conflict. Iran's leadership has appointed his son, Now, please forgive me, I'm not able to pronounce this, I'm sure, but it looks like Mojaba Khamenei as the
Yeah.
country's new supreme leader. What was interesting is President Trump made an announcement that he needed to be involved in the appointing the new leader in the supreme leader in Iran, which I thought was interesting, and I'm not sure if that's delusional or not. Fighting
Right.
across the region has intensified, of course, with the U.S. and Israeli forces targeting Iranian military infrastructure, while Iran launched missile and drone attacks against regional targets. The conflict has already caused casualties, spread across multiple countries, and disrupted global oil market. Oil prices have surged toward 120 per barrel as attacks threaten key shipping routes and energy facilities in the Persian Gulf. I do want to say, it's kind of hypocritical sometimes, I feel, to say that I know there have been at least 7 fatalities that belong to American lives, but I just hate
Yeah.
that there are any fatalities. You know what I mean? So the fact that we count ours feels like a little hypocritical. But yeah, this conflict has entered its second week. Sources are saying that we should not term it a war. However, President Trump has said we're at war. What do you?
Well, sources I'm listening to online, and I'm listening to multiple sources, by the way, and different people, and they are saying that right now there are 14 countries affected by this directly and indirectly, and only 2, Russia and China, being the 2 major ones that are not like part of it yet, but they're kind of sort of part of it. And so they're looking at this more closely, but they're like, we are at war, because the problem is that Iran is not gonna give up easy on this. They've been waiting for the last 20 years, and it's almost like you are outside cleaning your yard and there's a bee's nest, and you go outside and you poke the bee's nest, keep poking it, poking it. Well, you're gonna either get stung, or you're gonna have a whole bunch of bees swarming around your house. So right now, Iran is prepared for a ground war, and America is not prepared for a ground war. America doesn't have enough troops to go on the ground, even if China or Russia doesn't get involved. Now, China and Russia are direct friends with Iran, so they are just standing by, waiting. And Russia has already supplied, from what I understand, Iran with technical capabilities of detecting drones and bombs and whatnot. And China, from what they're saying, allegedly have also supplied Iran with some weapons, and they flew in planes and dropped off equipment. So this is a war. This is how World War II and One started, by small little conflicts that built up. And what is happening is America is being right now a bully and going around the world, and trying to police the world. So they went to Venezuela, got the kidnapped Maduro, brought him here, took the oil. Iran and Venezuela had a very close connection with oil. That's what they had, a trade agreement in oil. And there's an element, from what I'm hearing, that Iran has in their oil that needs to mix with the Venezuelan oil. So they got Venezuela, now they got there, and then they're going to Cuba next. We'll get into that next, but this is a war. And so let me just say this. We don't have enough troops to go on the ground and fight. America doesn't want a ground war. Plus, the terrain is very, very difficult when it comes down to those areas. And those guys have, boots on the ground. They know the terrain better. They know it's very mountainous. It's not the same as anywhere else. And people do not want to go to war. Americans do not want to go to war. And it's just chaos all around the block. And that's my small take on it.
Yeah.
You're like,
it's
a lot.
This was difficult to hear. Specifically,
Yeah.
we were in another country, right?
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes we as Americans forget there are other perspectives, other places. President Donald Trump has reportedly shown private interest in the possibility of deploying U.S. ground troops inside Iran. To your point, this is a war. This is how this started. And I think a big thing was, you remember when Barack was in the office, people were really wanting the troops out of Iraq, right? That was one of the things that a lot of Americans were pushing for, was for us to get troops out. And I will just say, from a personal standpoint, as a wife of a veteran who spent 2 tours in Iraq, please understand that even though people come out, they may come home, they may not, everyone may not be a fatality. Please do know that there are consequences and repercussions, and those soldiers that go to Iran or go to Iraq or go even to Kuwait and are there protecting us, they pay a very heavy price along with their families, even if they do come back. I will say, without telling too much, my husband definitely struggles with some of the things that he endured while on those tours. And so, yes, it is unfortunate that when lives are taken, but we also have to look at what happens to those lives that are still here, that come back, that have gone through that type of combat. And I understand that, sometimes you have to do things for the greater good, but I think we have to be very certain and very confident that that's what this is. Like I said earlier, the 7th U.S. service member who was no longer with us was killed, is identified as an Army soldier from Colorado. The Pentagon has identified that soldier as Benjamin Pennington, 26 years old. of Glendale, Kentucky. He was wounded after an attack on March 1st at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. He was assigned to the 1st Space Battalion, 1st Space Brigade that is based at Fort Carson, Colorado. The unit's mission is focused on missile warnings, GPS, and long-haul satellite communications. Pennington was posthumously promoted to staff sergeant, according to an Army press release. We have to look at these faces and realize these are real people. These are people that represent families. Yeah. And I just feel like, yes, our heart goes out to Americans, but war kills and hurts humans.
Yeah.
You know, on both sides. So understanding that if we are to deploy ground troops in Iran, that will put a lot more American soldiers in danger. I saw a lot of kickback on social media with people, you know, being very negative towards the president's comments, and just basically saying, you know, for all these people that are promoting war, they should be the first people to sign up for war. They should be the first people.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
To be on the battlefield. So from a political part, and I think a lot of that is moral and how you feel personally, but from a political standpoint, lawmakers are saying that Congress should be approving any ground deployment. But we know that President Trump has been able to make some decisions without the approval of Congress. What are your thoughts on that? Because that's been a big conversation piece in the news. I recently, before we got back to U.S. soil, we saw that President was able to continue pushing forward without the approval or without Congress approval in where he's currently at. And I wonder how is that affecting just the overall morale of Congress, right? Because it bothers me when we see everyone fighting and they're being so divisive. I don't see how we want to be able to get to a point where we are working towards the betterment of our country if both sides are so divided. So again, like I said, some lawmakers are saying that Congress should be the one to approve this, as critics warn that this could pull the United States into another long Middle East war, similar to Iraq or Afghanistan. And that we just were able to we came out of there, but I don't know that things were 100% clean when we did.
No, it wasn't. It's still conflict in that region of the world. I mean, you never leave a place when you got there the same way. And we've seen America throughout the times in history books and in history go to a place, disrupt it, ruin it in the name of democracy, and then look back and say, well, we did the best we could. When they pull the resources and the money out of that place, and the people that live there, the local people, the people who are natural born, they're the ones suffering on a regular basis. And we see this, and so Iran is saying, not to us. This is not going to happen to us. Even though, again, I'm not for the Iranian government as far as like what happened with their people. I don't know too much about that. I know there was some bad things that happened when the last supreme leader was alive, and no one should be going through issues in their own home state and place. But for us to come in and be like we know everything, when Iran has been around longer than we have been a country, for us to go in and tell them what to do and to be the moral police of people, when we can't even take care of our own citizens here in this country. Healthcare is in shambles. The economy is in shambles. Education, everything's in shambles in America, but we want to go to another country and tell them what to do with their stuff. As far as boots on the ground, Congress, right now, the American people do not have any faith in Congress. No. We see that both sides, Republican and Democrats, have been bought and paid for, and it doesn't feel good as an American citizen to sit here and to know that there's no power. The president has more power than Congress. He's showing them, I have more power than you because I can do and say whatever I want to do without repercussions. And all the Congress people can do is what do you call those congressional hearings and panels, and that's it. And it's more of an afterthought than it is a preventative or a direct hit. So it people are not happy right now with the Congress people or Senate, and they're not, because right now the Republicans control both the House and the Senate, and everyone's looking to the midterms to overpower that, but that is not looking good at all. And if all this president, it just will take one thing to happen in this country for everything to cease.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just takes one thing to happen in this country. And right now we're at a place where every day we're seeing new things happen. The president is coming on TV and saying new things. He's going on his Instagram and saying, it's
Going
crazy.
on True Social, which I know
Yeah.
none of us are on True Social, but
No, we're not.
we know that there's a lot of information, and I almost feel like I need to have an account there just to see what's happening.
Just to see about, yeah.
See what's happening. Thank you so much, Tammy. Tammy is here. Even though
Tammy, yes. Good morning, Tammy.
we are a couple of hours past our time, but it's good to see you in the chat. Tammy,
Yes.
she says that she can't even visit Dubai. Yes, and I saw that there were several Americans on social media that were posting that they weren't able to return from Dubai, in tears, scared, not sure what to do. Our hearts go out to them. Oh, thank you, Tammy. We appreciate that. We're trying to get here. Trust me, Victor.
Yes.
Trying to get here.
We were like, I'm not giving up. I'm not quitting.
Yeah, we had technical difficulties this morning, but
Yes.
we made it happen, and we appreciate you being there for us.
Appreciate you, Tammy, so much.
Yeah. So moving on from Iran, Cuba is earmarked to be next. The Trump administration is increasing pressure on Cuba's communist government as a part of a broader foreign policy strategy in the Western Hemisphere. President Donald Trump has suggested that Cuba's leadership could soon collapse due to economic sanctions and political pressure from the United States. And in Trump's way, he just said Cuba is going to fall pretty soon. He's argued that the pressure campaign is forcing Cuban leaders towards negotiations and could ultimately lead to major political change in Havana. However, critics warn that aggressive sanctions may deepen the humanitarian crisis on the island and raise tensions between the two countries. This situation comes as the U.S. continues reshaping its strategy in Latin America, with Cuba becoming a key focus in broader geopolitical competition and regional security concerns. I
don't know. I mean, Cuba. My take on this is that we're going too far. I mean, but we're going. This is me personally saying this. As a person in this country, I feel we're going too far. As far as the government is concerned, they've been looking at Cuba since the Cuba crisis back in the 70s. So we know they've been looking at the right time to strike, and sometimes it takes a while before people, do what they need to do,
Right.
whether we like it or not. And Cuba, all these countries that are not say against America, but against the government, they've been battling with each other for a while, and sometimes it takes a while. And this might be the time when we in our time we might see it, where America and Cuba are going at it. But right now in Cuba, Venezuela supplied Cuba with more oil. That's where they got the supplies from. And they can't get oil anymore. So right now there's a blackout in Cuba. They're having difficult times. Just imagine not having oil, right? We think of oil like car and, boats and stuff like that. But oil is used in many sectors to make petroleum, which makes plastic, which makes, just different items. And then you need those resources to fuel businesses and buildings and air conditions and heat and just to run machinery.
Right.
And if you don't have any oil and that stuff stops, first of all, there's no more fuel coming in, so cars can't drive. And then you got hospitals that shut down because they don't have power to the generators and all that stuff. So Cuba right now is in a bad place. And America makes sure of that by cutting off the Venezuelan supply oil. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty
Question:
bad across the world.
does economic power actually lead to political change in authoritarian governments? My my s- my stance would be yes. I think economics rule the world. Period. And I think
Yeah,
where
of
you're able
course.
to leverage that, it definitely politics. Everything chases economics, in my opinion, and
Yes.
that's a reality that is a little bit discouraging, but it's also just real, and that's what I think we have to realize. All this, the majority of this war and this contention is due to oil, is about oil, right? As
Yeah.
probably one of the most valuable resources in the world. Um, so another question that we want to ask is, what would the regime change in Cuba mean for the region and Cuban American communities? I personally think that it would be devastating initially. I don't know if things could change, but it's something like this. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better, right?
Yes, always.
What do you
So,
think
so,
about it?
so regime change and political, like, I was just, as you said about money. I remember the Wu Tang Clan, Cream, cash rules everything around me. And it's true, right? So, in order to make things happen, you need money to pay for things and move things around. And America needs to stay the superpower, and the best way to do that is to go around and show strength of military. Regime change, when it comes down to that, I feel that like it's only going to be in the best interest of America to change the regime to fit whatever policies that we have going forward for trade. And it's all about resources, money and resources. So money is what we make of it, but the resources is more valuable. And whatever resources that Cuba has, whether it be the location of the island of Cuba that we could put a base on to protect our resources in Venezuela, that will then go and have a place in Iran because Israel is America's ally. So all those things connect the dots.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Remember when America wanted to go up to Greenland and take over Greenland, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was basically because America wanted that spot for a trade route.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the in Iran, what is that thing called? The Strait of something. I forget the name of it. Starts with an H. But that area is where all the shipping stuff goes through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so if the government controls that area of shipping area, that's money. The Panama Canal, that's money. That's all resources that is controlled by the government. So if you change regime and you put people in power to do what you want done, you stay in power and you control. The U.S. dollar stays strong. The president stays where he's at. If he calls for martial law and he closed the midterms because there's if this is a war,
Mm-hmm.
which there is, but if the war continues on and something happens on America's soil, God forbid, something happens on America's soil, he can put national law, he can emergency in place and he can halt the midterms and he can stay where he's at for however long the war goes on. This is what people are saying online. This is what the speculations are. We're just gonna watch and see.
Yikes. But I do think the relationship between Cuban American communities is going to be I think,
Yeah,
and I hate to say this, but I think we're going to see a lot more
Hormoz. Yeah,
casualties, or attempted aggressions on American soil, right? Because a lot of these people, what Americans I think forget is that a lot of people from other countries, when they come here, they do come here looking for a better life, but they also have a fierce loyalty to their country, as they should, you know? And so that often clashes specifically with things like this happening. Uh,
I think because I think the idea of America being the land of the free and the brave, home of the brave. I think that ideology we know is no longer, and that's like America. America has the best marketing
PR.
plan in the world, the best marketing PR in the world. They'll tell you, "Oh, it's the American dream. Come here and you have all this stuff." Meanwhile, people over here are suffering. They don't have health care. You leave your country where you had a good job. You were happy. You were relaxed. You had free health care, free school, all this stuff, and you come here to make more money, which you could make more money, but then you gotta jump through like my friend would tell me years ago, you gotta swim through rivers of oil and then jump through rings of fire, right? As you're doing that.
Yeah.
And America makes you do. They say, "Oh, well, you know what? You were making $6 back in your country. You can make 25 here," but they don't tell you you can make 25 here, but by the time you end up in your bank account, you only have $3 in your bank account.
Well, I think
Because of all the stuff you gotta pay for. No, I'm telling you, because of all the stuff you gotta pay for, all the
gotta
things
pay
you need
for
to
it,
do,
and it changes.
only
the
to tell you, when you retire, you can go back to your country and you can relax. When you were there to begin with.
That's true.
That's what they do. I'm not gonna hate on America. I'm here in this country. I was raised in this country. I wasn't born here, but I was raised here. I was born in the United States Virgin Islands, which is a United States territory, and I see things from both sides. Because coming from an island that's American owned, I heard things and saw things on a local level. And then when I came to the States as a young child, grew up here, I saw things on a different level, and I saw the disconnect between both places. So I can speak from both sides on that and see how the government works, corruption on all different levels, local levels. But then again, the dream is sold big time, but when you get here, it's a different story. I mean, I'm just being honest as an adult. Even people who were born here will tell you that. And so people from other countries come here with that ideology because people from other countries are respectful, they care, they love, all that stuff. And then they get here, and guess what happens? You're hated on. You're frowned upon. You're talked nasty about. All this stuff happens. Literally, I went to school here, and that's what was told to me. I got bullied in school because I was sounding different. I looked different. And I'm like, what do you guys? What's the issue? But it happens. You know what I'm saying? So it happens.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean to be on a rant, a little rant.
No. I think there's merit to that conversation of what the expectations are versus reality. But I will say, yourself, and I know a lot of people that were born outside of the country that moved here, that will champion the fact that their life is so much better in America, right? And so,
yeah.
I know that even you and we have a friend that is a part of the staff that is also from St. Croix. You don't want to go back, you know what I mean? And I personally am like, why didn't you guys stay there?
Listen, I mean, there's reasons to it, but
so
I mean,
we got to be realistic and be objective. So I know a lot of people that are here as foreigners that have gotten their citizenship. And even with all the issues happening here in America, they still would opt to stay here instead of going back to their country. So I think we have to take that into consideration as well. Moving on to Gavin Newsom, who was in the news, last week or the week before, because of his conversation coming here to Georgia. But there's a new political clash that has erupted between Gavin Newsom and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem over federal disaster funding and a controversial government ad campaign. Now, first of all, Kristi Noem, it's not just Gavin Newsom that she's having trouble with. She was in trouble with quite a few people, and quite honestly, the biggest issue was Trump finally said, definitely released his support, took away his support from her, and so at that point, now everyone is able to kind of attack. But she'd been under attack. Even other Republicans were not happy with her, and so Gavin Newsom is the Democrat that a lot of people feel like is positioned for the presidential candidacy coming up in 2028. And so he is leading this campaign, a controversial campaign against her to kind of basically uncover what happened with this $220 million taxpayer-funded advertising campaign that featured her. He is accusing her of prioritizing self promotion while more than 500 million in FEMA recovery funds funding for Los Angeles wildfire victims remains stalled. And that's just shocking to hear. Well, not shocking, but unfortunate. The California
Yeah.
government demanded the Department of Homeland Security immediately release the funds to support rebuilding efforts in communities devastated by the recent wildfires. The dispute has added to a broader political tension surrounding disaster aid, government spending, and leadership at the federal agency. So I don't know if you guys saw this ad that Christy Nome was a part of. She was actually on a horse.
Yeah.
And, and although you guys know I'm a big fan of horses, but
Hmm.
the visualization of her being in a cowboy attire on a horse, that signifies affluence, right? Um,
Right.
and the way she was positioned, like I'm not talking about the rural farmer, that's out trying to, provide, produce and cattle. I'm talking about a high-ranking government official in a cowboy hat, full makeup. If you want a visual idea of what that visual looked like, Gavin Newsom referred to her as cosplay Barbie, referencing the different campaign
Mm-mm.
visuals where she appeared in different law enforcement style roles. She's been very aesthetically driven as far as, and I hate to say this as a woman because I know how difficult it is for us to get into positions of leadership. But a big part of her presence has been more on the visuals than on her policies, her belief system.
Right.
She has made some very off-color remarks that show that she's not. She has no idea, or maybe she's not educated on some of the things, or wasn't aware of
Mm.
some of the issues that she spoke about. Um, but in any case, government agencies are asking, is it ethical to spend hundreds of millions on advertising campaigns? And as a former public relations and advertising expert, I would say no. I would say it's in poor taste, um, because I understand that getting information and messaging across is very important. But I do think that we can be mindful, and I think there are many, many agencies out there that are aware of, that know how to get messaging across without alienating and coming across as insensitive, for lack of a better word,
Yeah.
inappropriate. I think there's a lot of agencies that really, really do well with handling things that way. And you know what? I know other people know that as well. You know how I know? Because when 2020 happened and the unfortunate and the devastating visuals and George Floyd being unalived, when that happened and companies needed to connect with DEI, when they needed to present an image and a public relations campaign that connected and was very culturally sensitive, somehow they found
Hmm.
those agencies. Somehow, in
Wow.
some
Yeah.
way, they were able to find all these agencies that specialize in um, cultural sensitivity and inclusivity. And because because there were so many that were able to employ those agencies, and then as soon as they felt like they were out of harm's way, um, those agencies were relieved of their duties. I think that when we're speaking about advertising campaigns that are geared around um, funds for some type of tragedy or even for politics, you need to employ and seek out agencies and individuals that have training in those areas. Because I
True. I
think someone
agree.
like a Christy Nome has no clue And so for her, I'm not saying that it was intentional for her to be seen. She made another off-color remark calling the two victims of ICE as terrorists, which was, I don't know if that
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
political jab or if that was really her just being ignorant. Probably a political jab and her being ignorant, honestly. But as far as the visuals and the optics, I think it's really important to have professionals in place at these agencies that understand the importance of connecting with people, and so that you don't have these huge aha moments after 2200 million dollars has been spent. There's no reason
Wow.
for a
Yeah.
220 million dollar
Yeah.
campaign. No reason for that. There's
Yeah.
absolutely no reason for that.
So I saw some of the stuff on floating around online about that whole campaign situation, and um, it was also brought to her attention that she hired someone familiar with her that's in her staff's friends agency or whatever. So they're like, "Where's that money going?" I think a lot of it is. I agree with you on the fact that someone more qualified should be in a position. Christy Nome has come from she comes from a interesting background. She was governor of South Dakota at one point, and she was in Congress at some point. So it's not like she doesn't know what the rules are. I think she's just tone deaf. And I think a lot of these people that come into power in Trump's administration, particularly, are doing whatever they want to do because they feel like there's so much happening with the Epstein files and this person's mom missing and this going on over here in Venezuela, and the news is all over the place that they have in power to do whatever they want to do and run their campaigns. I feel like a lot of stuff that she's done has been just that. You know what? I'll do what I need to do, and we'll figure it out as we go along. And having a campaign like that is tone deaf because the American public right now is suffering. Jobs are all-time low. The stock market is really dropping every day. It's going down 300 points. I think it closed at 400 or 500 points this weekend just passed. The war right now in Iran is going on. All these things are happening, and gas prices are going up. I wanted to mention that earlier. Right now in California, I paid $5.39 a gallon yesterday at the pump. I was paying $5.39.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that's cheap in my area. I was paying before. I was paying 4.30 something, but now it's 5.39, and that's only going to go up more because right now I think gas is oil is at $120 a barrel or something like that. It's going up. It's really going up. Yes, $5.39. You heard me, and that was mid grade. That was even that was even high grade. That was
Premium. Yikes.
low grade was $4.99, $5, 5.03. Mid grade is 5.39, and then it goes up from there. And that's in my area. If you go into Los Angeles, I live in Southern California, so my prices are not the same as Los Angeles. I think LA prices are like $7 and some change, $8 some places. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, there was a point in time, let's say a few weeks ago, maybe last month, gas was $3.89. You know, in some places. So I mean, for California, that's still not too bad. $3.89. I know what's gas in Atlanta right now. Three what?
Thankfully, I didn't have to put gas in my truck. My husband did. You know what? I know it's probably about 360 something, but that's for
Okay.
premium. That's for premium.
Premium, yeah. So yeah. So
Maybe like
lower grade will be like
$4.
$2.89.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the prices aren't too far away. I mean, dollar some change is a big jump, but honestly, like I said, I paid $5.39 yesterday. Tammy asked, "What's the purpose of grade?" Well, some cars, if you have a domestic, I guess, a regular car like a Honda or whatever, some cars calls for low, like the regular grade, and then the BMWs, Mercedes, they call for mid, and then the other one called, higher. Just depends on the car. The make and model determines the grade of gas you put in your car because it runs the engine better and whatever. But honestly, what's happening in the country right now, she's tone deaf with what
She's
she was doing. So
definitely tone deaf.
Trump had to get her out of it because she made him look bad by saying that he approved the ad and he was okay with it. He doesn't want people to look bad. He doesn't want to look bad. So if she had said, you know what, it was my fault, I approved the ad, he would have jumped out and said, okay, well, no, we're not going to get rid of her. We can keep her longer. But because she said, you know what, he approved the ad, he was okay with the ad that was money spent. He was like, nope, not on my watch. You're not gonna. Oh, you're not gonna.
And I
You're not
think
gonna
he
put.
had her
You know.
back for a long time.
He did. He did. He
Her
did.
back for
He
a long
did.
time. And I would just
Yeah.
say, we have a picture. Did you have a picture of her? If we have a picture of her, I
Yeah.
think
Let's
you would
see.
understand exactly why Trump was backing her. I think she is, you know,
That's her.
yeah, I think she represents that. She's always glammed up, and there's nothing wrong with the glam. I'm a fan of the glam,
No.
but I
Yeah.
think it's, and like I said, I think for her it's a lot more visuals than it is substance. And I hate saying that as a female, but I do believe that that's the case when it comes to
I
Christy.
mean, th- that's across the board, right? I think people once you get past, there's either two sides. You get past the beauty, and then you want brains, and then once you get past the brains, you want something to look at. So it's like, okay, I hear you. You're good. You make a lot of sense, but are you good looking? Are you attractive?
We
You
never
can't
have that
speak.
question when it comes to male politicians.
No,
Male
no.
politicians, we don't care what they look like. That's never part
I
of the.
mean, not really. Barack
That's
Obama was both. Barack was both.
Barack
He was like, man, this guy is,
I'm
he's a
saying
handsome looking guy, and he can speak.
he he
You know.
he is. But I will also say probably that one of the most infamous presidents, John F. Kennedy, was someone that people
Yep.
felt was very
Still.
attractive. And when I did my capstone at the University of Oklahoma on the relationship between career success and attraction, and it did prove that many politicians, male politicians, also do benefit from having standard typical good looks. But I'm just saying overall, and this is something we can debate on another day, we don't really have these conversations about maybe it's an understood thing, or
Hmm.
it's an instinctive thing that we are drawn to men that are more handsome and charismatic when we're talking about voting. But as far as the conversation on what the person looks like after
Yeah.
and how that affects, we don't really have that when it comes to male politicians as much as we do, or even male figures. If Kristi Noem's husband, I don't know what he looks like. I don't even know if she has
I
a
don't know.
husband, but we do know that a lot of emphasis and rhetoric is placed on
Yeah. True.
females that are,
Yeah.
Michelle Obama to Barbara Bush to,
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton. Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, moving on off the overly cumbersome political conversation, we have bad news, but good news, disappointing news. Global superstar Rihanna and her family are safe after a frightening incident at her Beverly Hills home occurred over the last few days. Authorities say a 30-year-old woman was arrested after allegedly firing multiple gunshots toward the singer's residence while Rihanna was inside the property. Police responded to reports of shots fired and discovered that several rounds had struck the home, with at least one bullet reportedly hitting it. The suspect fled the scene in a vehicle but was later located by law enforcement and taken into custody. No injuries were reported, but I did see that she's being accused with attempted murder. 10 rounds of gunfire
Oh,
in the
really?
home. Yeah, she's being charged with attempted murder. We don't know exactly
I wonder.
we don't know yet if there was relationship between this woman, if this was a fan stalking situation. But we do know this is not the first time a celebrity home has been targeted. There numerous, countless incidents of obsessed fans or individuals with personal grievances based on public perception being taken out against celebrities. And I do think that, there is a point of social media making celebrities feel more accessible, and even beyond even feeling more accessible, a lot of times social media shares where these celebrities are, right? So,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Well, I mean, I don't think social media does that a lot. I think sometimes like the Kardashians, their calendar is giving out because that's part of their brand. Part of the
right.
brand is saying this is where I'm at, this is where I'm at, and paparazzi shows up, and there are many places. The more times you see a person, it makes you feel like they're so all over the place, and it causes hysteria. Some of these celebrities, that's part of their brand. I'm not saying this is Rihanna's brand, but some celebrities is like, oh, I'm gonna be at this place. Here's the
Yeah.
calendar for the week. Show up and take pictures as much as you can, and then
Right.
I'm gonna be in every blog, every paper. It
That's
gets
true.
people's name in my mouth, and yeah, that's what happens. Yeah.
That's very true. I don't think that Rihanna is definitely like that, because she and ASAP Rocky, specifically after becoming a family, I don't think
Yeah.
they're legally married, but they have 3 children together, 3 children under the age of 10, I think under the age of 8 at this point. Very small children. They're very family oriented. You see them with their children quite a bit, but you don't really see
Hmm.
them attending a lot. You see them occasionally pop out for a Hollywood celebrity event, but really, uh, since becoming this entity, you see them together a lot. Do you think that how much privacy can celebrities realistically maintain in today's digital culture? Because not only, I remember going to Barbados and them showing us,
Hmm.
oh, this is where Rihanna lived. This was her family home. There were even some people that shared where some other members of her family still reside there on
Yeah.
the island. This was her, and I know that they actually have a property there on the island. Um,
Yeah.
and this was their Beverly Hills home. You go to California, and that's what people do. People look for where celebrities live, and so I don't think it's totally due to social media, but I do think social media definitely helps. I know I've worked with celebrities that have shared with me the concern of having people able to Google their address and
Yeah.
find public record, and then not being safe. I know one of my clients had stalker that was like sending her pictures of what her home looked like. It's definitely very
Yeah.
it's a dangerous. It can be very dangerous, and there are those situations that I think people may not realize how often celebrities deal with this, because we don't hear about it until something extreme, like
Right. Yeah.
rounds being fired, into your home. But I think the stalking and harassment happens more often than not. Like I said, I've dealt with it with clients of my
Yeah.
own, several clients. When you're on television, that's why a lot of times talent or will not want their actual home showed on television, or maybe not
Right.
outside of their home, because they're trying to
Mm.
maintain some type of privacy, a safety, not even privacy at this point, safety for themselves. So what do you think? Should there be stronger legal protection for public figures that are facing this type of harassment?
Yeah, I feel like in today's age where Tammy says TMZ has tours, they do. In today's age where we have the technology we do have, it's more difficult for a celebrity to hide. I mean, you can't really be, you before time, like you said, this has been happening for a while, but we can't really like change anything about that other than move. Some celebrities have moved out the country,
Yeah, a
and so
lot
they
of
don't have to deal with that because a lot of them are like, you know what? Like I was reading, what's the guy's name that plays Thor? What's his name? I can't think of his name.
he's
He
a
plays
handsome
Thor.
boy.
He, yeah,
I can't remember his name, but
he
Chris.
moved his
Hold on.
Chris Hemsworth, Chris
Yeah,
Hemsworth, right?
yes.
He moved his whole family to Australia, back where he's from, and he said, "You know what? I moved there because after COVID or during COVID, we filmed most of our stuff overseas. And then I'll come back to Hollywood and be bombarded with paparazzi. And I wouldn't be happy being in Hollywood because right now you show up, you come back from your job and people are just taking pictures of you everywhere you go. You can't eat at restaurants, you can't go anywhere, but it comes with the territory of being a celebrity, right? And so he's like, I have a better life. I live on a farm, you know, like Dave Chappelle lives on a farm and doesn't live in the city. So I mean, people can pick and choose where they want to live, but when you live in Hollywood or you live in New York or small places like that, or close places like that, it becomes more difficult. I mean, Atlanta is a little bit more spread out, so you don't have, you know, access to people's homes as you would in, you know, places like California or New York. But again, she's in Beverly Hills. It's a very small community. 10 rounds of bullets in her home is not.
That's not.
The first thing I thought about was, is this one of ASAP Rocky's ex girls that came after her or him? I mean, I'm not saying it is. I'm saying, like, you know, she could retaliation. Like you talk bad about me in the last. You know, remember he was saying my mom wanted me to be with Rihanna. I had to break up this girl. I don't know. I'm not saying that's the case, but I was like, why would a girl shoot at Rihanna's house? And usually, I'm not saying it's a men's situation, but Rihanna doesn't seem to be the type of girl to mess with girls. So why are you coming after me with a gun? I mean, it could be a fan, but I don't see a fan shooting Rihanna. A fan would be more like stalking and trying to get into the house versus shooting the house up.
I think the mentality, we can't ever judge like the mental health issues or the toxic mental state of someone that's in that space, because there are people that are so in love or so obsessed with celebrities that they will attempt to hurt them, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so I understand what you're saying.
Maybe true.
It goes deeper than just what we're looking at is our mentality of like, this doesn't make sense, but there are people struggling with mental health issues that see things in a very warped way, and I think could feel like they have to, in order to control or, you know, be at this level of obsession with someone, that they would hurt them, you know. That has happened. That's happened many times. Even Selena, her caretaker, the lady that was with her.
Oh yeah.
Her and actually killed her because of that.
That's
so
true.
I think you just can't assume. But what we do know, first of all, we're happy that Rihanna and her family are all safe, and hopefully there will be more security. It's kind of strange because I know my husband, you know, was, like I said, he was a military vet, and he also worked in security for a short period of time with some high level clients. And when you're talking about securing a home, that could be very difficult. You can have guards around, but as far as having someone, you know, a person with a gun could be up someplace and able to, you know, shoot at the home or at people exiting or coming in. So that's I guess the most safe option is for people not to know that you're there, right? Because, or where you are, you know, because if they do know that, even with a guard there and even with safety precautions, I guess you could get a gate that keeps bullets out. I don't know the extent because that's not my background, but I do know that whenever a person has the information of where a person is, they can be, because they are, you don't know where they are, where they're coming from. And at this point, people could be, you know, it's just very dangerous. But like I said, I'm very, we're blessed that that Rihanna and her beautiful family are safe, and we pray that they'll remain safe. The woman is in custody, and so hopefully we'll figure out, you know, they'll be able to kind of crack the case and figure out what was going on with her.
Not Rihanna, come on, not Riri.
Not Riri.
Better have my money.
Another celebrity is speaking about something that I feel like was definitely worth us speaking about here on the reprint because of how many situations I've personally heard, and I think this is something that we need to talk about as a culture and as a community. Specifically, actor Terrence Howard drew attention online after discussing deeply personal experiences from his childhood during a recent interview. In a viral clip circulating on social media, he reflected on early sexual experiences he says occurred when he was very young, even up to age 4, describing a neighborhood environment where such behavior was normalized. The comments have sparked intense reactions online, with viewers debating the impact of childhood trauma, how society discusses abuse, and the responsibilities of public figures when sharing such stories publicly. The clip has since circulated wildly across social media, fueling conversation about boundaries, vulnerability, and the long term effects of early childhood experiences. So, for those of you that may not have seen this clip, Terrence
I got the
Howard.
clip right here.
Oh, well, let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's watch the clip. Hold on 1 second. Let me run it back. 1 second.
Was the first
Here we
time you had
go.
a sexual encounter with a girl?
I was 4. That was different. I was 4. It was the older girls that were watching me, and they were like 6 and 7, and so that changed.
Did you say 4 years old?
4 years old.
With 6 and 7-year-old girls?
Yeah. And we did that every day until I was like 13. Had more sex then than I've had in my adult life. So my expectation for interaction was those things.
I'm still confused. You said 4 years old?
4 years old.
And they were 6 or 7?
6 and 7.
Were they Muslims?
No. This is
Because I'm
these
thinking
were-
your father with,
Yeah, my father wouldn't have known, but when you're not supervised,
and you guys are just fooling around at,
we're just fooling. We played hide and go get, pants up, pants down. That was my experience, and I'm like, I look at my sons 8 and 9 now, no 9 and 10 now, and I can't imagine them getting involved in that, But I lost my innocence, It's effectively being molested. But then you have this.
but not grown girls. 6
Yeah,
and
they were
7-year-old
6 and
girls.
7. They were 7. They were about 2 years older than me and my brother.
How long did that last?
Up until we were like 13. But all the kids in the neighborhood was doing that.
Oh, this is a neighborhood thing. You guys are just hanging out playing and you're doing this.
And we played hide and go get.
What neighborhood was this?
This is in Cleveland.
It was the first time you...
Yeah, that is whew.
I just want to say this. I have had, as in my work in addition to being a publicist, I did a lot of media training, and I would also write bios for a lot of celebrities, in the early 2000s. And in writing those bios, a lot of times I would just have really candid, open conversations with men and women about their upbringing and childhood, because you really want, in order to write a great bio, I know things have changed now with AI, but you really want to tap into who that person is and what shaped them and what made them, who they are. Specifically, when you have someone that's very successful, you want to know why, what led to them, what were the building blocks that created this type of success. Well, I have had at least 18 men, numerous women, probably more women, at least 18 men shared with me. And I started keeping account because I was so shocked that they had childhood experiences, were experienced and introduced to sexuality during extremely young ages. I'm talking about 12 and under. 18 men. And this is just have told me, and I'm not a psychologist. I was a celebrity media trainer. And so if a celebrity media trainer has heard 18 instances of young boys under age 12 that have been introduced to sexual activity either by a woman that was slightly older than them or a man. Some of these young men were touched by men, and some of them were touched by women. And I don't think that's the important piece of it. I think what is important for us as a community to understand, and I think that Terrence Howard is very bold and has always been very unapologetic and has in this conversation. But I think sometimes you can look at a person like that as an outlier, and that's not
Hmm.
the case. At least in my experience, like I said, I am one media trainer, and that is not a psychologist. It is not a therapist. It is not a um, psychiatrist. You know, I am a media trainer for celebrities, and so I have had that story come up more times than I would have ever imagined. Other people have shared since then. Because when I was doing this was in the early 2000s, so it's very, very something that people would not share publicly. But since that time, we've had
Yeah.
Kevin Gates share that. We've had Mike Epps share things were done to him when he was a child by older women. We've had Mike Tyson has come in. It's just something that I wish our community would take some time with. I think that, there's a lot of conversation. I spent some time with a girlfriend yesterday, and she was like, there's so much conversation on social media about how toxic at some point Black men can be, right? When it comes to relationships, in relation to marriage and being responsible partners. But we seldom factor in all the trauma that has happened that we know about and that we don't know about. And so I just would put out there for us to think about. This is a news show, so we can't go deep into it, but hopefully we've been talking about here on the reprint, doing some exposés into some different things. And I think this would definitely be one of those topics that I would love to lean into, just because I feel like there's so few times that men have a voice for conversations like this. And I applaud those platforms that are giving men those opportunities to share and to have a safe space. But I think that it's great when men are able to share among men. But I think it's really important for these conversations to also involve women, so that there is some understanding of what happens in a brain, a child's brain, whether it's a male or a female, when they are introduced to sexual behavior, sexual molestation, being assaulted sexually at such a young age. And if it's by a peer, because in this case, these girls were just a few years older. So they're all acting out what they have heard from their parents or even seen.
Yeah, what they've been abused to. Yeah.
Or
Hmm.
they've been victims themselves. But in many
Yeah.
many of these cases, um, the lines are blurred between victim and predator, right? So if you are
Right.
11 and the person touching you is 14, that
Right.
doesn't have the look, the aesthetic of a predator, right?
But the
But what
same
we
thing.
do
Yeah.
understand is that 11-year-old gets older, that 14-year-old gets older. In so many cases, even R. Kelly's situation,
Hmm.
we learned that he was a victim when he was a young boy. And a lot of
Mm.
times we don't give
Yeah. Yeah.
attention, we don't give empathy, we don't give concern when it is a male being touched or uh, having a interaction with a woman, because we feel like, oh, well, that's, boys are mannish and things like that. But when you're talking about
Hmm.
in
Yeah.
one situation I can recall, it was a 6-year-old boy and a babysitter that was 18 years old. And as a
Wow.
result, he
That's.
told me that he had very, very, uh, a very difficult time trusting women as a 40-year-old man. And this is not something that he shared with women that he was dating. So imagine the
Wow.
breakdown.
So he was 6 and she was 18,
He was 6 years old and she was 18
and the,
years
the
old.
person.
And that's just one of
That's.
many. That's one of many.
That's.
Another one, the
That's.
little boy was
Wow.
7, and it was a stepbrother who was 14. So
Mm,
it.
mm, mm.
I think that we have to realize that I know
Yeah.
for myself, I when I would think of predators and pedophilia, I would always have this image of a man taking advantage of a young girl. I saw, and I want to talk about this on Wednesday, that Kiki Palmer was having a conversation about adult attention from men when you're a female child, and how you don't
Right.
realize how toxic and how unhealthy that is until you get older. I had the same experiences. I was 13 years old, and a male coach would pick me up and take me to practice, or take me someplace, because he lived in our area. My mother at that time didn't have a car, and no point, my mother was such a conscientious parent. At no point was
Yeah.
she assumed that male teacher was staring at my legs and making me feel uncomfortable when I would get in the truck with him. So
Wow.
we have this idea that this happens to young girls, but what we're learning is that it happens to children. It happens to children.
Yeah, across the board. Yeah, yeah,
across
yeah,
the
too.
board. And so I just want to say kudos to Terrence Howard for sharing that. And he's such a talented actor, but I think a lot of times, and he's also talked about how he had to learn and mature because he probably made some mistakes. He had a lot of anger, he had a lot to go through. But so many people that are talented, that talent has been birthed in a soil that consists of pain, right? That consists
Yeah.
of pain and hopelessness, and they are able to, through the grace of God, take that and create something beautiful for others. But it does not take away the fact that there's that motivator and that stem, those roots are based in pain and toxicity and perversion many times. And so before we get to celebrating and all the time putting celebrities on a pedestal and forgetting that they're people, and then when they do things that are beneath what we would assume to be moral, we're the first
Morally
person
wrong. Yeah.
to kick them when they're down. And I'm not saying that wrong is not wrong, but I am saying that there's a culture and there are patterns that have been built that do create these type of monsters. And when you pour power, money, and access on trauma, you can create some of the biggest monsters imaginable. It's kind of like how in Space Jam, when they had those the monsters were created from I can't remember how they created the bad monsters, but they blew them up and they became huge. I think you can take a child that is molested or tampered with, and you allow that pain to set, and the focus is to overcome that pain, and then you reward it with adulation, public adulation, money, access. You look at someone like a Chris Brown that has not acknowledged being sexually assaulted, but has acknowledged being physically assaulted and watching his mother be physically assaulted. And then you see what
Yeah.
happens when that child, instead of growing up and maturing and going to therapy and getting over that, instead it's just like, oh my God, you're amazing. Let's just give you millions and millions and millions of dollars. And then that man child is unable to handle it. I think we see that happening throughout many different situations. And I just think that it's important that we remember that we're all human and we need to protect our children. But sometimes it's not just the child that is 8 now, it's those
Yeah.
people that the 8-year-old in them never healed, remains broken, and is now in a adult sized body and still
Yeah.
has these type of open wounds.
There's a quote that says, "Hurt people hurt people,"
Hmm.
and a lot of these instances we've seen that people come from abused homes, abused situations. They get SA'd, sexually assaulted, and they in turn do the same because that's what they know, it's what they've learned. PTSD, the traumas that they go through, whether it be abuse of any kind, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, they're all abuse. And when you learn it, and that's your coping mechanism, that's what you know, you pass it on to the next person and then on to the next person, and we've seen it too many times. And in his case, that it happened since he was 4 till 13. Many questions could be asked. Where was his parents? How did this happen? When did this happen? And what was the circumstances? And why didn't someone intervene? And sometimes I don't know his parents. I can't blame his parents for what happened to him. But sometimes I remember when we had kids, we never let our kids do sleepovers. And for many years, my daughter and son was like, "Why are we on sleepovers?" And so we would tell them because we just don't trust, people and stuff. And they never understood. But as they get older, we explained, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know." It's like, yeah, sometimes it's not the parent, it's the actual child you're hanging with that might be the person. And nothing against that person, but if you want to protect your child, you have to do everything in your power to protect that child, meaning no sleepovers. And
Yeah.
sometimes it might seem like, oh, you don't like me or you want to keep me from my friends, but no, we're just trying to protect you from all harm. And harm could come from anybody, including your own friend. We've seen that. And so we look at Nickelodeon that started on TV, and all that came from Nickelodeon, all the kids that came from Nickelodeon have been somehow abused in some form or fashion. Britney Spears is spiraling out of control. Amanda Bynes, out of control. You go on the list, out of control. And it's all because of these people that were put in power and place that abuse these kids in mental capacity, physical. It's just bad. And so we do need healing as a nation. People need therapy as much as possible. If you out there have been abused or know someone who's been abused or have any type of abuse in your life, seeking therapy and help to understand yourself and to know yourself and to find a place where you can accept yourself is very, very important. And I champion that all the time.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's important. I think this is why I think this is why the reprint is important, because news, it can be very discouraging and
Yeah.
depressing. But the reality is that news is more than just bombs being dropped or politicians fighting. It's what's going on in our communities. And
Yeah.
I just want to give a number right now for anyone that has dealt with or is dealing currently, specifically with childhood trauma, or dealing with some type of mental health issue that you're not able to deal with yourself. You can call a 24-hour mental health helpline, which is at 954-902-4213. So if you are a child or a parent dealing with a child that is dealing with some type of trauma or something that you don't know you need help with, a child or parent, you can call the National Parent and Youth Helpline. There is someone there 24/7, and that number is 855-427-2736. I think that is really important, and as we continue to have these stories, we're gonna continue to have resources available, but specifically with children and parents. I mean, I look at, my children that are now grown, and I know as parents we do everything in our capacity to keep them safe, but sometimes our best is not good enough, right? And
Yeah.
so I think it's important to have really candid, open conversations with your children, or with
Yeah.
children that you are, that are putting your care. I tell a quick story. We were on the cruise with my daughter. There were around probably 2,500 people, if not more, on this cruise.
Wow.
And at one point, there were children. There were so many children there, not just children, but babies. People would come to the club and leave their babies in the stroller, unattended,
Wow.
off dancing. And
No.
this is no slight to the cruise ship, but at one point, my daughter, who was DJing when she finished, she said that, people brought her this baby in a stroller, and she was just like, I don't know what to do. Whose baby is this? She's trying to figure out whose baby it was. Finally, she was able to get some
Wow.
help and find some, some older staff. The night I was there with her, our night we were returning back, there was a little baby, probably less than a year, in a stroller parked by the bar. And
Wow.
and I was like, oh my God, there's another baby here. Like, what is going
Oh,
on?
wow.
So I went
That's
over and
crazy.
I told my daughter, I was like, Chanel, there's another baby. And she was just like, what? So as I was over there, we were watching the baby. A woman came over from out and she said, oh, this is my baby. It's okay. I just didn't have anyone to watch the baby. And it was my last night on the ship and I wanted to get out. And I thought that she would be fine. And I was just
What?
like, ma'am, with
This could be a last night with your child.
with the
Would you be
way
fine
that,
after that?
yeah, things
What?
are happening. It is not. There's another. I took pictures of
Hmm.
little kids sleeping on launch, like on the chairs in the pool area, totally
Hmm.
with their parents out someplace else, dancing,
Yeah,
and
no.
it's scary. So I'm sure parents are doing the best they can for the most part. For those that are not, if you need help and you can't take care of your child, call one of these helplines, get some help
Yeah,
because
please.
it's
Yeah.
not worth endangering your child.
Yeah.
And I think I just want to make sure that we're offering resources. So again, if you need help as a parent or a child, you can call 855-427-2736. And you can also call for the 24-hour mental health helpline, 954-902-4213. Moving on to another celebrity that probably has had some issues that have not come out yet, but probably will. And this is not a
What?
negative about her. I just think there's a lot going on here. We think about Jennifer Lopez, and you think of someone that is
Oh,
extremely talented, but also has had some extremely toxic relationships. And recently, while performing her Up All Night residency at the Coliseum and Caesar's Palace, Jennifer Lopez made a statement that has gone viral. She said that a mentor told her that all women need from men is a little bit of sugar. And by
mm.
sugar, she said she meant kindness, sweetness, and genuine effort. However, um, she also made another statement that night and said that people she after her third divorce she was down a bit, and she said she called a mentor and the mentor said, well, Jennifer, what do you do when you can't you can't get it? She said, you're a dancer, right? And she said, yeah. She's like, what do you do if you can't get a dance step? And she said, I just keep doing it over and over again until I get it. And so
Interesting.
um, she suggested that she take that same advice when it came to her finding love. She's also said that she doesn't feel like she was ever really loved by a man. But I think
Mm.
this comment definitely resonated with a lot of people because I think it really kind of explains the modern relationship expectations in that a woman can have everything that she wants and does not need a man. I just need you for, maybe a little bit of gratification here or there. Um, but are relationships really about big gestures or everyday kindness? And I think that statement, although I'm sure Jennifer Lopez meant it in a positive way, I don't take it as in a positive way for her saying that all women need is just a little bit of sugar. It definitely suggests that women can lead full lives without men. And I'm not saying that being single is a bad thing because I don't think that at all. I think it's better to be single than in a bad relationship. But I think when you put something out like that, saying that we don't need anything from men but just a little bit of sugar, it minimizes the impact of a
Yeah.
positive man in a woman's life. And not just a romantic relationship, but also fathers and daughters, brothers and sisters,
Uh,
coworkers. I have many, many, many male friends that have been tremendously impactful in my life in a positive way, Victor included. And to say that
Thank
all
you.
I would need from a man is just a little bit of this, like, yes,
Yeah.
it's great for emotion, but I think I'm able to pull so much from positive men, in my life, whether I'm in a romantic relationship or if it's a coworker, a friend, my brother, my uncles. Um, I don't think that I would ever relegate men's in impact or contribution to just a little bit of anything in my life.
I got the clip. You want to see some of it or no?
Yeah, let's see it.
Okay, this is some of this clip. Okay, let's see what she's saying now.
I've been saying it for years. Haven't I been saying it for years? It's not about the money. It's not about the money. I don't want your stuff. Get out of here, please. It's simple. It really is simple. People look at me and they see me with my sparkly mic and they think that I'm expensive. And I am expensive. But I got my own money. Okay? I don't need you to buy me.
I'm gonna fast forward through a little bit.
Ladies, do we need them to buy us anything?
There we go.
You know what, fellas? I'm gonna let you in on a little something. Since we're here, because I love the fellas so much. I'm gonna tell you a little secret. Fellas, lean in for me for a second, okay? Here's a secret. Women don't need much. What? First of all, I don't know. You guys pipe down back there, man. Okay? It is true. It is true. We need very little. We need very little. All we need from you is a little bit of sugar. That's it. You give us a little bit of sugar, a little bit of sweetness, kindness, and we will give you so much in return. It's like that one explanation that I've heard. Have you heard this explanation about women? They multiply whatever you give them. You give us a bag of groceries, we cook you a 5-course meal. You give us a house, we give you a home. You give us a little something, maybe we even give you a baby, maybe. But if you give us any grief, we'll give you 1,000 fucking headaches, and you know it's true.
Okay. That was there, yeah.
I mean, she's performing. She looks amazing, and I mean, she
Yeah,
always
yeah.
looks amazing. Jesus God, but
I don't know. I mean, she says all of that, but then, she's like, first of all, I have my own money. I don't need your money. So, but if I didn't have my own money, would I need your money? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and some of the ladies in the audience need
Yeah.
the money. We don't all.
yeah. I mean,
Nobody has
but
J-Lo
see,
has.
let me say this as a guy, right? As a man, I want money too. Like women, society has this thing in our culture where they attack women for wanting security and wanting money, but men want the same security and money too. We live in a country that is so high profile and turnaround and money driven that everybody needs security. I don't care if you're a male or female. Everybody wants security. Everybody wants to have a person in their life, man or female, that brings something to the table. You know what I'm saying? If I'm making the table, bring the chairs. If I, you know what I'm saying? And I think that should be across the board when it comes to couples. A lot of times it's always placed on the women to be the homemaker and the man to be the breadwinner, or it's placed on the man to provide all the money and the woman to just sit down and just look pretty. And then when a man says a woman's pretty, but I'm the one paying for stuff, then they get mad. When a woman says, well, you only pay for stuff and I'm the one taking care of the home, then the man gets mad. So it's like there has to be a balance in homes when it comes down to the home structure. It can't be about the money. Like you went on your vacation this last week and money wasn't the focal point, it was you and your husband, and that's the beauty of marriage should be. But society has made it an issue: who gets the better job, who pays for the childcare, who brings home most of the groceries. it's become a talking point in our community and it's ruining our community. You know what I'm saying? Where's the love? Where's the connection? You know, it's all about money, 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 money. No, it can't be all about money. Money is a way how we pay for things, but
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that was just for a great Vegas performance. But shouts out to her.
It was, yeah.
Looks amazing, and she's doing great with that residency. Last piece of news, we're going to always end on a positive note. Media entrepreneur Byron Allen has expanded his presence in the entertainment industry by purchasing a 10.7 actually percent stake in Stars Entertainment for $25 million. Can we just say that Byron Allen has been a quiet assassin in the media business, in television and film, specifically television? He is quietly taking over, and this deal involved the purchase of about 1.8 million shares. Yes, at roughly $13.86 each, giving Allen a significant minority position in premium cable and streaming network known for series like Power and P-Valley. Industry analysts say the investment could position Allen to increase influence in the company or potentially pursue deeper partnerships, including selling content to the network through his media empire, Allen Media Group. You know what's interesting to me is that Byron Allen, we know that I have a good friend of mine that really put me on to like what he's been doing and how he's owned all this. But he's so quiet with it, right? And so I think a lot
Very
of people
quiet. Yeah.
think of like the people in the Black community that have a lot of impact when it comes to television and film. You automatically think Tyler Perry, and you think there's no one else besides Tyler Perry that have maybe Oprah Winfrey, you know, at one point when she was really in position with her network. But I remember when the BET, opportunity to buy BET was happening, and it was Byron Allen and Tyler Perry were two of the people that people were asking to kind of hoping would come together and make that purchase. And I just wonder what you think of the fact that Byron Allen has managed to do all this and be successful without negative backlash from the media, right? The only person that the media talk about is Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, maybe 50 Cent. You never hear media talking about the power and the impact that Byron Allen has on television. The Griot, where I watch the Cosby Show reruns and so many other shows, A Different World, Jeffersons, Different Strokes, is owned by Byron Allen Media Group. So I wonder, like, to me, I just think he handles himself with so much grace, but he is such an amazing businessman. And thank God that we do have someone like him, in addition to a Tyler Perry, you know, who is making waves in film and entertainment, because I think that there's this huge change coming to where conventional television is not necessarily the priority, and we need to be in these streaming conversations. And so for Allen Media Group to be now a stakeholder with Stars, I think that's huge.
Yeah, I think because because to me, right, Byron Allen, to me, in most people's eyes, he first comes from comedy, right? But he's also, I think that because his story is boring, Weather Channel, like no one is like looking at that topic, like yeah, whatever, you know, Weather Channel guy, he just bought that, and they're not paying attention to the moves he's making and how he's doing his stuff. I think that's the biggest part. Now, I'm not sure who is he married to a woman of color or not?
No, he is not.
Okay. So that could be another reason why too that is not being splashed upon the media, because because maybe he's not conducting himself like how our community would like him to conduct himself. And I don't want to say it negatively. I'm saying it in a sense of like, you know, we go out here and we're flashy and we're on all we want to be the superstar, and you know, a lot of times we do more flash than business. So before our business deals are closed and our paperwork is signed, we're out here buying the biggest things, and we're in the blogs, and we're everywhere, and we're talking, and we're on new, you know. And Byron Allen is opposite of that. He's more the business guy. He's the one that goes and does the deal, and he's quiet about what he does, and you know. So I don't think that's what the media wants. If there's no drama, then there's no story. That's what I think. You know, I think he moves very, like Tammy says. I think he moves silently. There's no drama, so there's no story. You know, he bought the Weather Channel. Cool. He bought some shares and stake in Stars. Cool. He's not 50 Cent running around talking about T.I. He's not Tyler Perry and these scandals with these other men. He's not Oprah Winfrey, you know, every 5 minutes on the news about what she's doing. He's Byron Allen, the weather guy. That's it.
He is. He definitely is. He's definitely married to a Caucasian woman, and
That's
has
fine.
been for the majority of the 2000s. I think he got married in 2007. He is worth $735 million. This was last year. It could be over $1 billion at this point.
Okay.
My gosh, my goodness.
How much money is enough money? That's my question. How much is
Well,
enough
I
money?
do like the fact that he's able to do some of the things that he's doing, that he's able to do. But I think that he is. It's important just to note that he is one of the most powerful media moguls in today's business. Through his company and entertainment studios, he oversees 41 television shows and 8 cable networks, making him one of the very few Black entrepreneurs to build a billion-dollar media empire from the ground up. So 41 television shows and 8 cable networks is beyond.
He's smart. He's
Beyond.
smart.
Yeah.
He could be the next Fox, not Fox, but I guess Fox, right? Who owns Fox? I forget the guy's name who owns Fox. She's like, not us. We don't own Fox. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. He could.
Trust me,
Yeah.
we do not own Fox. I don't know. I think, you know, and I'm not a conspiracy. Well, I've become more of a conspiracy theorist over the last few years. But it does seem like when there are African Americans that get that level of success, something happens, right? We've heard that with Bill Cosby and different people. Interestingly enough, to your point of who owns Fox, this is going to blow your mind. Fox Corporation, which includes Fox News, Fox Broadcasting, and Fox Sports, is owned by the Murdoch family.
Yep. Rupert
Which
Murdoch.
that was
Yep.
not
There you go.
mentioned in the
No.
documentary.
No.
Yikes. That was not
Yeah,
mentioned in
yeah.
the documentary or any of that. But before we get out of here for today, I'm glad that we did agree to do this, even though it is a lot later than we
we did
usually
it.
do. I want to give our
Fox owns Tubi. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Fox owns Tubi. I want to give our inspirational quote of the day, which is from Spring Yourself into a New Reality. You can go and check them out at springyourselfintoanewreality.com. And you can see this that we're going to share today. Or, I'm sorry, Snap Yourself. I am so sorry. I put that across.
I didn't get a slide for that. Yeah.
snapyourselfintoanewreality.com. Please forgive me for that. Snap yourself into a new reality.com. Today's conversation is about relationships and how you can invest 5 minutes of your day to snap yourself into a new reality. And encouraging all of us, as we were talking about earlier, that relationships are really the most important things. They are the true currency. Think of one person whose relationship has meant something to you, a friend, family member, or someone you love, but whom you've neglected to invest time with. Write them a short message, i.e., I was thinking about you today and wanted to say hello. It's been way too long since we've connected. I want to see you soon. And then act. Send it. Make the meeting happen. 5 minutes of effort can revive a valuable relationship that might otherwise quietly disappear, because relationships grow where people choose to show up. And your new reality begins the moment you react. So that is Snap Yourself into a New Reality. That is our tip for the day. That remember that relationships count. Relationships are the most valuable things. Money comes and goes, but those relationships we have the potential to either make grow, or we have the ability to destroy them. And then last but not least, as you guys know, we committed to celebrating a Black owned business um, every single day. And so the Black owned business for today is Hanifa, Hanifa.co, which, oh my God, can I tell you guys, I don't know if this had been a secret for me or not, but because I was one of the only people not following Hanifa. They are exclusive designer styles, just a beautiful, I mean, and I'm big on, styles that celebrate your femininity, that are also sensual, but yet professional. This dress right here, this peplum situation, I don't know if I can, figure out how to get that to me immediately. But this business is absolutely beautiful. These clothes are absolutely beautiful. Hanifa is a global luxury women's fashion brand founded by Anifa Muvemba, and for Women Without Limits, known for its innovative 3D digital designs, vibrant colors, and curated knitwear, often emphasizing inclusivity and body positivity. The brand caters to modern women with sizes up to 3X, blending structured and sophisticated design suitable for professional and leisure wear. And that's what I mean. Like, I love when designs, you can wear something to work, you can wear it in a professional setting, but it also just makes you feel feminine and celebrates those parts of you that are curvaceous and that are, just your femininity. So shouts out to Hanifa. You guys, please, 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 please go and support them. Have some amazing designs. Like I said, if I could figure out a way to just drape myself in Hanifa every day, this is one of those few brands that I would be comfortable wearing every single day. And the brand mission and motivation is that women should be empowered to break barriers, achieve excellence in every aspect of their lives, and make their own rules. We know that women can do anything they set their minds to, and Hanifa wants to help them do it. So please go and visit Hanifa.co. That is HANIFA.co. And trust me, you will not be disappointed. There will be something there for you. It celebrates women of all body sizes, shapes, colors, and creeds, and most importantly, just absolutely fabulous. Again, if Crystal could drape herself in Hanifa every day, I would.
Not if, when, not if, when.
Yes,
We have
when.
to speak into existence. Yeah.
When I could just reach out and say, send me the spring line. It's time for summer. Crystal needs to be just, just covered in Hanifa. Beautiful. Believe so much in that mission statement, and most importantly, just done with excellence. So please, please, please go and visit the brand and support them today.
Yes, we did it.
We did it. Woohoo! And Tammy was here with us.
We had. Tammy, we thank you so much, Tammy, for being with us the whole time.
MVP. Tammy is the MVP today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate you, Tammy. Thank you for rocking with us, for sticking with us, growing with us. We thank you. If you haven't subscribed yet, Tammy, subscribe to the website.
Yes.
Not the YouTube only, but LennoxandParker.com. We're trying to build that too. Yeah.
Yes, because we would definitely. I had to figure out how to get some Hanifa up on LennoxandParker.com. We have a lot of things coming. Like I said, this week we are launching our new sports segment. So we will be back at 12 noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. We'll be back on Wednesday. And then join us on Friday with our new sports commentator, Jamal Burke, with the Bottom Line. Burke will be with us. And I'm happy to be back. We got a slow start today, but there's so much great things coming with the reprint. We love you guys for watching.
Thank you, guys.
See you on Wednesday.
Peace out.